If you like the want, if you like the jealousy, if you like the lying of we're just friends, but you know dang well they aren't just friends, those books are for you. Yes, that is Baby Yoda in the back. He keeps me company. Let him live. And yes, I do have a Briar University jacket, and it does have, hold up, let me turn around. Come on, give it up one time for the one time for Mr. Garrett Graham. Hi besties, it is I, Larissa. If you don't know, now you know. Today I have a very fun book recommendation video for you. I am going to be recommending some of my favorite friends to lovers trope books. That was a mouthful. It's just friends to lovers. It's just the trope friends to lovers. Here's my thing. I am a big fan of enemies to lovers. Some would say a connoisseur of enemies to lovers. Not a single person says that. If friends to lovers is done right, it is superior, but it just needs to be done correctly. So today I'm just going to recommend you some friends to lovers that were done very much so correctly. And that's this video. I have 8 books to recommend today, so let's just get started. Subscribe. Let's do this. Friends to lovers. I feel like I'm really far away from you. I don't feel as connected to you as people, so I'm gonna move a little bit closer. I hope you don't mind that I'm invading your personal space, but hello. First up, we've got Archer's Voice. I live for this book. This is a 5-star in my opinion. I tabbed it so much because I loved every single scene in this book. So it is essentially about this girl named Bree who moves to a small town in Maine to get away from something in her past that you'll find out later in the book. And she meets this boy named Archer Hale, and she's very confused about him because he doesn't speak to her at all. He just kind of brushes her off and ignores her, but she feels this instant connection towards him and she doesn't understand it and kind of wants to get to know a little bit more. And it is a friends to lovers done so well. This was the perfect friends to lovers, to where you felt the tension the whole time, but they were just friends, but you felt that wanting. You know what I mean? You had that there. This boy is different. He's built different, because most books that I read, the boy is kind of a badass, kind of morally gray. That's the vibes I go for. This one's the complete opposite. He is quiet, he is shy, he is inexperienced, but he's so cute. It's one of those they save each other kind of books. You guys, 5 stars. Please go read this. This book gives off like a lake cabin vacation kind of vibe because she's in a lake cabin, and it is so comforting. It is so refreshing to see a couple be so healthy and amazing for each other. It's also refreshing to see a boy like this because we usually don't see those in books. At least the books I read. I mostly read morally gray guys, but you know, that's on me. Archer's Voice. Go read it immediately. Next up, we've got People We Meet on Vacation. I'm sure you've seen this book many places, and let me just say that the hype of this is worth it. This is much more of a relaxing, calm beach read. I would say definitely read this at the beach, or read Beach Read at the beach. That one's amazing too. Also by Emily Henry, but that's not friends to lovers. Anyway, People We Meet on Vacation. It is about Alex and Poppy. This is also kind of the same vibes of Archer's Voice, with the girl is very outgoing and energetic and extroverted. That's the word I was looking for. They have been friends since college, and they have been taking trips together until 2 years before this book starts, where they kind of just ruined everything and never talked again. And then she's kind of just going through life, and someone asks her when she was happy, and she can only recall the times with Alex, the last trip she took with him. So now they're gonna take one more trip together, and you get to see all the trips they've taken, like all the vacations they've taken together, and then this one as well. So it goes back and forth, which I think was my favorite part. You guys, dare I say it, 5 stars. Next up, we've got November 9th by one of my favorite queens on the planet Earth, Miss Colleen Hoover. So this one is a friends to lovers in a different kind of way. This is a very interesting story. So this one's about Fallon and Ben, and they meet in a restaurant one day. She is having a conversation with her dad, and her dad is kind of scolding her about something, and he hears it, Ben hears it, and kind of just jumps in the booth and pretends to be her boyfriend so that her dad stops yelling at her. My cat is literally going up on my bookshelf. Bob, fix up, down, come on, dude. In front of everybody. Anyway, what was I even talking about? Colleen Hoover, right. So Fallon is getting yelled at by her dad, and Ben hears it from the other booth, and he comes into the booth and like defends her. And this happens on November 9th of one year. And they kind of just get to talking, and he's a writer, and she comes up with this idea of giving him something to write about, like a love story that's worth it to write about. They decide that they're going to meet up every year on November 9th, that same day, for several years, so that he can have a book to write about their love story of meeting up every year on that same day. But their rule is that they just cannot talk throughout that time. So they're just gonna meet one day in the year, talk to each other, hang out with each other, just have a blast, but then not talk at all throughout the other times. They cannot know each other's social media, not have each other's phone numbers, just the whole shebang. Obviously, in the perfect Colleen Hoover fashion, if you've read any Colleen Hoover books, you know that there's always a twist. So there's an amazing twist in this one. It is really good, and I think the plot is something I've never seen in a book before, so November 9th. Going for a completely different vibe, we've got Punk 57. This is one of my favorite books. I will never not recommend this. This is different because it's friends to enemies to lovers. Misha and Ryan get assigned each other as pen pals in 5th grade for class. And so they just start talking through letters, but they have never actually met each other. But they become best friends and rely on each other to talk about everything they don't talk to anybody in real life about. But they decide they are never gonna meet because it could ruin everything. Until one night, of course, they meet and then they hate each other. And that's where the issue lies. So it is friends to enemies to lovers. And there's a lot of spice in this book. And if you know Penelope Douglas, you know the spice, the truck scene, the library scene. Need I say more? This one's amazing. In the cover, it literally says, "We were perfect until we met." Chills. Literal chills. Yes, Punk 57. Okay, I felt like I should throw one fantasy in here for all my fantasy readers. Outlander. I had to say it. I love me some Outlander, you guys. Jamie Fraser, the king of men. Listen up. This one is fantasy in a way that it's about time traveling. It's not fantasy in like goblins and monsters kind of way, just time travel fantasy. So essentially you have this woman named Claire, and she is vacationing in Scotland with her husband, and she touches these stones called the Cragnadoon. The Cragnadoon stones. I sound very, very American, which I'm not even American, I'm Brazilian. Anyway, she touches the stones and she goes back in time to the 1700s. She meets this Highlander named Jamie Fraser, and they become friends, and she can't go back to her own time. So now she's caught between two worlds. Obviously, if you know anything about 1700 Scotland, you know that a lot was going wrong at that time. You know about the battles, and you know a lot of stuff is not doing well, especially for women. So Claire is in huge predicaments here. This book is a series, so there's a lot of them. It's also a show. And this is the most I will burn down the entire earth to find you type of love. Like, they go through so much and never lose that love. Oh my God. If you are a romance reader and you have not read Outlander, you need to. Trust me. For something fun and light and just a good time overall, I would go for Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I love Christina Lauren. That's first and foremost. This one is about this boy named Josh and this girl named Hazel. Go figure, right? Right in the title. Anyway, they've been friends since college. This is about the quirky girl and the serious guy. The sunshine grumpy vibes. It has that. They have been friends since college and have never dated, but have always had that chemistry there. And now it's 10 years later, and Josh got cheated on by his girlfriend. So him and Hazel make this kind of bet that they're gonna set each other up on dates. But they start setting each other up on these horrible blind dates. This one is really cute. I would go for this one if you're like in the mood for something fun and flirty, but still has substance in it. Love this one. Especially because they're trying to convince themselves that they are just friends the entire book. And you're just like, no, you're not. You're literally not. I have to do it. I have to, because Briar University, baby. Oh my God. Garrett Graham. I have no words. I've read this 3 times in the past 2 weeks. Anyway, so this one is a series called the Off-Campus series. You probably know it, but if you don't, it is different books about different hockey players and their respective love interests. This book is about Garrett and Hannah is this girl that just aces this midterm that everybody else did so bad on, and Garrett is this hockey player that failed said midterm, and so he asks her to tutor him, and they kind of make this deal where she'll tutor him and he'll get this guy that she wants to notice her. It's a classic friends to lovers because they have such a good friendship on here, but also you always see that tension and the wanting, which is my favorite part of friends to lovers, honestly. This one is a 5-star, incredible. If you have not read about Garrett Graham yet, you need him in your life. Now I have the last one, which is the whole reason I wanted to make this video, because it is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it a long time ago, but it has never left me. Can you even see it? Y'all, it says Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Another Christina Lauren. Yes, I do have 2 Christina Laurens in here. She's just amazing. Love in Other Words. I have no words for how much I love the other words in this book. I don't know why I did that. I'm upset with myself. Anyway, Love in Other Words is about this girl named Macy and this boy named Elliot. So they meet when Macy and her dad move to a cabin for vacations, for summer vacations, because something tragic happens in her life and her dad decide to move, but only for the summer. It's kind of like a vacation home that they decide to have. And she meets this boy named Elliot. They're like 13 years old. And they meet for the first time. She finds him in her closet because it's an abandoned house, and he goes in her closet all the time to read books. Yes, I said that, to read books. This boy is a reader. Kill me, right? So anyway, they meet when they're kids and they become best friends, and they start to always talk about each other's favorite words and each other's favorite books, and just develop this amazing friendship that eventually turns into love. But now it's all of a sudden 10 years later and they are not talking. They have not talked, and she runs into him at a coffee shop. Can you say perfection? You get to see the past and the present, kind of the same vibe of people we meet on vacation, where you get to see Macy and Elliot getting to know each other, meeting each other, and becoming friends, and then becoming lovers as kids/teenagers, to now where they're rekindling that friendship and getting to know each other again, and you get to find out why they stopped talking after 10 years in the first place. This book, Oh, Elliot, is kind of the same idea of Archer, where you are like, how is this boy built like this? That's Elliot. I have no words for this book. It just makes me cry just even thinking about it because it's that good. Trust me. If there's any books you get out of this, please get this one. Love in Other Words. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. It was just a little friends to lovers trope that I wanted to share with you guys. Friends to lovers is one of my favorites due to the fact that I love the wanting. You get the tension from enemies to lovers, but you get the want from friends to lovers. Does that make sense? Because that person wants the other so bad, and you can see it throughout the book. They can't have them because they're just friends. That's what all these books give you. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you subscribe, stay a while. Let me know any other tropes you want to see, and I hope you get one of these books. If you do, comment down below and let me know which one you like the best. Goodbye. Love you guys.